Good morning and welcome back to our leadership empowerment session. It's a good time. I can feel the season is changing a little bit. It's becoming winter in Pretoria. It's nice and cool this morning when I went out very early, not very early, but early. It was 11 degrees at 8 o'clock this morning, so the season has definitely changed. But I want to talk this morning, and it will be a multi-part series. And the title for today, normally I talk about leadership going downwards. Today I want to turn it around a little bit, and I'm going to talk about followers, subordinates, how do you want to call it, doesn't matter, but it's about abusive leadership. I will look at what abusive leadership is and how to deal with abusive leadership. Well, when we listen to people, you hear the complaints about people don't understand me, my boss is this, that and the other, and he abuses me, he's manipulative, he's abrasive and so forth. And today I want to talk a little bit on that specific aspect, on how to deal with an abusive leader. But before we can talk about how to deal with it, we have to look at what an abusive leader is. An abusive leader is someone who misuses his position or power to control, to intimidate, to manipulate, and to harm others. It's a toxic environment. Instead of using his position to guide, to support, and to develop a team, he does everything for himself, for his own benefit, for his own ego. An abusive leader is often very subtle and non-physical. But as the years progress and time passes, that non-visible abusive leader become obvious. People can immediately identify this abusive leader. But what are the characteristics we are looking at as an abusive leader? The first thing that we have to look at as an abusive leader, his characteristics, is that they control or they are manipulating his behavior to manipulate and control other people. He micromanages everything excessively. He does not know how to let go. And I know this first point, you can immediately identify a leader with that specific characteristic. Or you might have this and you never wanted to acknowledge it. They demand blind loyalty and obedience. You will hear words such as, I said it and that settles it. The boss is always right. Or they will tell you, you have to do this because I'm the boss. I'm the supervisor. You'll hear these words. And this is the first characteristic of an abusive leader. An abusive leader doesn't encourage initiative. Everything must be done, and must be done their way. It's my way or nothing. You do what I tell you to do. You don't get paid to think, you get paid to do. They don't like independent thinking. And the impact of this type of behavior, I'm still busy with the first one. This type of behavior, your employees, your team loses confidence. They lose their creativity and the autonomy. In other words, the team stagnates. So that's the first characteristic I just want to touch on. I know I can unpack the characteristics in an hour, but this is not the idea of our leadership empowerment sessions. The purpose of our leadership empowerment sessions is just to give you something to think about, to use, to initiate or activate your creative juices. Let the grey matter starts to operate. Number two, they manipulate and do gaslighting. They twist facts to maintain control. And that's easy. They use what has been said, what has happened, to tell people the solution and not to empower them. They tell people where they have made mistakes, and then they become the hero of fixing that chaos. And in doing that, they cause doubt in the heart of their team. They are fighting for their own survival, their own position, and create doubt in the team's own judgment. They use guilt, fear, pressure to get compliance. If you don't do this, you're going to be fired. If you don't do what I say, I'm going to write a report for your performance appraisal. They're always using this pressure to make people to conform to their ideas. That creates confusion, anxiety with the staff, and total dependence on him. And that's not successful leadership. If you listen to all the other teachings I've given over the years, we are supposed to take the staff, the team, empower them to function autonomous, that the team can continue to be effective even and especially when I'm not there. That creates some time for you to do more things at a different level. Through this, you are enlarging your footprint in your organization, and an abusive leader never sees that. Number three, lack of accountability. And this is a difficult one, especially if you are the owner of a small business. You are the founder, the CEO, the boss, the supervisor. You are everything. And normally, you'll find this type of person to be an abusive person. They are forcing people to work longer hours without any pay. And they are abusing the current economic state, meaning there are many people, only a few job opportunities that are available. So if you don't like your job, you don't like the circumstances, leave. I will get somebody else. And this is unfortunately what's happening currently in our nation, and I want to say even globally, because of economic pressure. Employees are being abused, taken advantage of, because they know there are many others that will come and work, and they don't care about personnel turnover. Whether it's this person staying for a long time, or if I have 3 or 4 people during the year doing the same job, they don't care. As long as the people, the staff, the employees are doing what I'm saying they have to do, then we are happy. So that lack of accountability. There's nobody that they report to. Their word is the law. There's nobody that can correct his behavior. So we have lack of accountability, which also means a lack of mentorship. And if there's a lack of mentorship, it means there's no counterbalance that keeps a boss, an abusive leader, intact, in line. So their abrasive, toxic actions have no consequences. And they refuse to listen to feedback and criticism. They see criticism or correction as an attack on his position and his authority. It's a dangerous place to be. For us as leaders, we need to make sure that we have an open channel of communication to the staff and from the staff back to us. Because you are the CEO or the founder or the supervisor doesn't mean you are always right. By listening to what people are saying, you can polish your whole, I don't want to call it image, but you can polish the way you lead. Stop blaming others for your mistakes. And that is a typical sign of an abusive leader. If something goes wrong, it's always the staff. It's the people that I have in my department. And when credit is due, they take everything. It's because of their leadership, their initiative, that things are going well, which is not the truth. And they avoid responsibilities. What they expect of their staff, they don't produce. If they expect their staff to be on time, they might be frequently a little bit late, arriving late at work, arriving late after lunch, leaving early. But the staff can never enjoy the same benefits. Because this is a toxic culture in an organization. And problems, that is the breeding ground of all our problems. And conflict is never resolved. Fear is placed upon people. So that conflict, that unhappiness, that uncertainty is pressed down. But you can only press down to a certain level. Then that pot is going to boil over. Number 4. The fourth characteristic of an abusive leader is intimidation, a fear-based leadership style. As the other points I've mentioned, they use threats for job security, reputation, exclusion, isolation. They use threats to force people into conformity, to force people to obey. That's not obedience, that's dictatorship. We need to give people the freedom to live their lives in a safe environment where they can truly be fearless in airing what they experience, even if they want to correct your behavior. But unfortunately, this abusive leader uses public shame, and he likes humiliating people, make fun of their mistakes, their weaknesses. That's abuse. They use humor to let people laugh at other people's mistakes. They are creating an environment where people are too afraid to speak their mind. They are too afraid to take chances, to become creative. Because what if I make a mistake? And if I make a mistake, everything will come tumbling down in my life. So that breeds an attitude of I would rather keep silent than to be embarrassed. It creates disengagement, and that results in a high staff turnover. Number 5, the fifth element or characteristics of an abusive leader. And as I'm speaking this morning, you might be in leadership yourself. Just listen to what I'm saying. And if you are guilty of the first 4 I've mentioned, change it. It's in your hands to change the environment. And if you are working under such a leader, join me next time, on how do we deal with an abusive leader. Number 5, an abusive leader uses favoritism and exploitation. They favor the people that are like sheep. That's yes and amen on everything they say. They don't like creative thinkers. They don't like leaders, even though they say they like, but they don't like it. Because a leader never accepts the status quo as the final destination. They will always try to find another way, a better way. It might not be the best way, but they are thinking. They treat people unequally. Those that ruffle feathers, they are being sidelined. They are being labeled as rebels, problem makers. But in essence, they are not. They're just looking at what is happening and they see a solution. But the moment they bring the solution, if they are lucky enough to allow to bring that solution, it's brushed off as rebellion. They use this individual for personal gain, for errands, for their own advantage. You'll find that in organizations, even find that in churches. In every sphere of the community where there are leadership, you always find these type of abrasive leaders. They overwork people. That causes burnout, division in the staff, because now people are looking at others. My goodness, this guy never works overtime, but we have to work overtime. And this person in our team is favored. When promotion comes, he's the one that gets it. When work must be done, he's the last one to get it because he's constantly, permanently in the boss's office, having a cup of coffee. And that causes conflict in the team. It brings division. And once there's division, there's chaos. When there's chaos, there's rebellion. And you, as the leader, is the reason for this. We must treat people the same. And for pastors, pastors, don't treat your biggest tithers differently, or your biggest givers differently from those that are giving the least. Treat them the same. It's difficult. I know. I'm a pastor as well. I know. Because we don't want to upset the big givers. Because if we have upset the big givers, they might become upset and they might leave. And then the money is gone. My budget is down the tubes. But what has happened? You have sold your integrity. You have sold your relationship for the sake of money. It has never come there. when we are looking at this, of favoritism, that breeds resentment. Resentment towards the superior and resentment towards the team players. So they are no longer a team. Because team stands for together, everybody achieves more. We have just turned the team into a group of people. What is group? It's grumpy rumors of unfulfilled people. They will be constantly moaning and groaning, undermining the company, undermining the ethos of the organization. They will use every day's sick leave available to them in their cycle of 2-3 years. They will be the last to volunteer for extra tasks. They will do nothing that is outside of their job description. They will never work overtime if there's no payment. And that is the result of an abusive leader. But the question is, why do people stay in such an environment, functioning under abusive leaders? I've opened up this session this morning with that statement, because of the economic pressure. People allow these things to happen because they are afraid, if I resign, I cannot get employment again. Excuse me for my cup of coffee. To understand the why people stay, it's a fear of losing their jobs. So then they'll just eat it up and eat it up, go home unhappy. When he gets home, the dogs get kicked. The children get shouted on. And he becomes the abusive husband to his wife that has done nothing wrong. They are frustrated, irritated. They hope things will improve at work. But it won't. Because the toxic leader remains there. Nothing can change until you change things around you and inside of you. You're emotionally drained, but yet you stay because of the dependency on the salary or the lack of alternatives. Normalizing of the toxic environment takes time. If it was a toxic environment as you walked in the very first day, you would have made a different decision. But because this leader has become toxic over a period of time, you have been exposed to a toxic environment slowly but surely. You are getting poisoned without even noticing. And then one day when you realize, what am I doing here? You have spent so much time in that environment that it becomes nearly impossible to leave because of our dependency on the income, the salary. And we are caught up in a very bad, controlled, manipulative situation. Now, what are the effects of the abusive leadership? Abusive leadership doesn't just affect individuals. It is damaging the whole ethos of the organization. But how does it affect individuals? This session was so far just on individuals, but let me just summarize it on the individuals. Stress, anxiety, burnout, sick leave, staff turnover, a loss of confidence, a loss of self-worth, and it reduces productivity, effectivity, and engagement. They are just going to work, take the abuse and go back home. Do nothing for the extra mile. How does it affect your organization? High staff turnover. There's no continuity. You are constantly busy doing training. So you're constantly sitting with new people. And a new person cannot be as effective as an experienced person. So you are sitting constantly with inexperienced people. So your productivity is not at peak level. Your income is not maximized because you cannot produce optimally. So in essence, you are damaging your own company's turnover. There's no progress. There's a poor morale between the staff. The culture of your organization becomes toxic because who you are will eventually spill over to your staff, and they will become toxic in their positions as well. So their PR, public relations, after service sales is down. Your clients become unhappy, and they are the people that bring you income. If they don't come back anymore, the sales are down. If the sales are down, the income is down. If the income is down, you become more abrasive and toxic towards your staff because you blame them. Yes, in essence, it was the staff member that was rude to a client, but they have seen that methodology or that culture from you. Change the way you treat your staff, and your staff will change how they will treat your clients. It will reduce innovation and performance. And lastly, your reputation is damaged. And this is session 1 of abusive leadership. Next time we will look on how do we deal with an abusive leader. And as I've always said, please use this information. Send it, share it. Follow me on TikTok and YouTube to be connected to our teachings. And you may use it in your own staff meetings. That's why I keep these sessions short, so it can be used during team buildings. And if you want me to come to your organization and to do more sessions on site in your organization, please contact me and see how we can set up an appointment or how we can customize a training session. I've been involved in leadership since 2005. Traveled the globe to more than 50 nations. I'm a master coach for Dr. John C. Maxwell in Africa. So I've been involved in corporate, in the secular world, in government, and in churches. And you won't believe it, our church environment is lacking quality leadership. Pastors are constantly struggling with leadership. Contact me and help us to set up a training session for them. If you want to get hold of me, all my details are on Facebook. I'm also on YouTube and on TikTok. Thank you for tuning in this morning, and don't miss our next session in 2 weeks' time. God bless you.